Ever wonder what tech leaders would say if they had no prep and no redos?
Welcome to Humans of Tech. I'm Caroline.
And I'm Kelly. We're keeping humans at the center of technology through quick, authentic conversations with people shaping the industry.
Got three rules: no prep, no editing, and one live random question our guest never sees coming. Emma's in summer break. I asked her to please just give me 20 minutes because I need to record this podcast. And she's like, okay, fine. I hear the microwave. She's 7. She doesn't know how to use a microwave. Homegirl is putting a plastic plate in the microwave because her egg is cold. This is when she decides to become independent, when I can't go stop her.
Love that. Well, um, okay, we have such an exciting guest coming on, but before that, what do we talk about this morning? We're gonna be in another country together soon.
My goodness, yes, I'm turning 4.
Yay!
Very
And I don't know. I was thinking when you texted me and I was like, okay, South America for Caroline's birthday, like, that's a little bit more than I do for my friends, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna show up because that's what we do for the people that we care about and you're in my inner circle. So
And if
I'll
I
see
can be an
you.
excuse for you to South America, like I'm all in. I feel like that's almost good service.
It is. And y'all, I've never been to South America. So you're like exposing me to a new culture and I'm so excited. And yeah, just a couple months away.
Land
So
of
something
the
really,
land of my people.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So can you tell me about the guest? Oh yeah, I know. Look, we got Humans of Tech here, everybody. Look at my
Guys,
adorable water
if you
mug,
know
which I
me,
always want to have.
I like go crazy for branding. So I got my water bottle over here. I'm a little obsessed with the sweatshirt, but yeah, really pumped that we now can let anyone rep our brand.
Can you tell me about our guest
Yes, yes,
before he
yes.
hops on?
Okay, so I'm so excited because this guest is coming to us from really unique perspective, and I think it's so relatable, the company that he works for. So, Jay Moran is the SVP and Distinguished Engineer and Chief Infrastructure for Fiserv. So, Fiserv is the reason why we can pay our friends for dinner or pay rent online. Like they power the payments for the world because they're global. They're in over 100 countries. And so he has a really interesting background though, because he didn't come from, the financial services side. Like he started at AOL. Like, what do you think of when you
I
hear
know.
AOL?
I was stalking his profile just now, and I know you're pumped because of the Fiserv background. I was like, AOL. Do you know what my original email, my very first email was cielo, which means sky in Spanish, 77 because 7 was and is still my favorite number at AOL.com.
AOL.
And the Vistaprint, he worked at Vistaprint. I was like a
Yeah.
serial entrepreneur when I was in my high school and college years. I can't tell you how many different business cards I made on Vistaprint. They would give you like 50 for free. It was
Oh yeah.
amazing.
Oh yeah. That's how they get you though. I mean, I
I
use
find
it
myself
now for like all of our a lot of our printing, but yeah, so like this guy has done it all, seen all different industries. And I mean, being in tech for so long, like I can only I'm just so excited to learn more from him. And you know what? I haven't shared this with you, but
fun.
he is the leader of the Women IT organization internally at Fiserv.
I just saw something. I saw one of his posts and it was Women in IT, and I meant to go grab it, but then we just hopped on here. Wait, he
Yeah,
runs the Women in IT org at Fiserv?
I have to get a little bit more clarity, but
Let's ask him. Can we ask him
yeah,
about this? I'm
I
so
cannot
curious
wait.
because
Yeah.
I love, so like I'm part of the Extra Hop Women in IT scenario, that I do women in gov tech for New York State, but it's like run and managed by women, which I love,
Yeah.
but I also don't love. I would love
Yeah.
to see more men involved in
I
organizing some of
know.
the women in IT stuff, but I know that's kind of like, is it like an oxymoron? Is that the right word?
It is to a point because, but I think like men are our allies. Like they're the ones like that when we're not in the room, like they can, advocate for us. So I think that like in a scenario where, a man's leading it, it's like that is so powerful. I want to know like kind of how they got started too with
Maybe
theirs.
co-leading? Should he be co-leading? I don't know. I feel like this can bring up a really
I know.
Hot topic. I'm going to bring this up in my next women group and see how women feel.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because when I was a part of a women's group, the Women Technology Alliance in Charlotte, where I used to live, like we had board members and they were three of them were men. And it was like they would lead our panels too. And so even though it's women empowerment and like that's the focus, it doesn't say that a man can't be in the room. So, and that they bring different perspectives. So,
That's the whole point of elevating a different either gender or background. It's the diversity. But if you only elevate one and then you start to exclude everyone else, you have the exact same groupthink problem
exactly.
um, that you wanted to avoid from the beginning.
Yeah.
I like that.
No, I'm very excited to
So can we just talk a little bit more about our that sweatshirt that you're wearing?
yes.
Can you imagine? So
So
to our listeners, well, first of all, to our listeners, we now have a live storefront
yes,
where you can get Humans of Tech gear. And we love it because it's not just about supporting this little podcast of ours, but
right.
like you work in tech, guess what? You are a human of tech.
Yeah. I just had
Hello.
some order the other day that was like, I work at Amazon, but like I'm not in tech, but I'm going to give this to someone on the tech team. And I was like, a keychain? I love that. So like we have the smaller items where it's a keychain. We have the sweatshirts, which honestly, like I am all about the look and feel of sweatshirts. And y'all, this hoodie is like the most comfortable thing ever. And we were able to hand pick.
Your signature one, and then my signature ask was the water bottle because we all know I always have a water bottle.
I think what's really unique is too, is like Carolyn, we picked out the items for everyone.
For
Like,
ourselves, basically. We picked them out for ourselves.
yes, we had men and women in mind. We have definitely, unisex, and we also have, we could have added like 100 items, I think, that day. But yeah, so anyone can go on now and rep Humans of Tech, and
Oh, I will say, can I bring up ChatGPT here in a minute, for a second? Hopefully we
yeah,
have a to go through. Just for our listeners, like
yeah,
if you guys aren't double checking your ChatGPT during the process of us trying to get the website up and running,
oh
we
my
were going through my ChatGPT and trying to understand what the customer experience would be to purchase through Exomo, and we were getting massively erroneous information, basically telling me that I couldn't have a customer facing website, that they would need to get a discount code, and I would need to place the order. And we put the same prompt into Kelly's account. And it told us to just go into settings, change a couple settings so that we did have a customer facing
My
website.
ChatGPT got a promotion and Caroline's got a demotion. And
Yes, I yelled. I legitimately yelled at it, told it was wrong, told it that I went to another model and got the correct answer. So folks, like if you are not challenging
yeah,
the output that you're getting from your chat GPT, you
yeah.
may be doing a lot of wrong things here.
And I think it's really important to note that ChatGPT and all these models are made to give you a response as quick as possible. They could be pulling from the sources of a blog that is very biased. Like you need to be checking your sources. You need to be asking it where it got that information from and like tell it like, no, I don't know if I believe that. Show me where you got that. And
Do you feel like you're becoming a more critical thinker?
I think I think so. I think it challenges me. I mean, you challenged me this morning. You're like, girl, like when you're in the morning and you're thinking, like, don't use it because your brain is thinking for yourself. Like,
I just find that the amount of time I'm going back and forth telling it that it's wrong or asking for a different opinion or now looking like I read it trying to find something incorrect in there,
yeah,
which
no,
is impacting me. So I do feel like it's kind of working a different part of my brain at this point.
I totally think so. Hi, Jay. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Jay, I don't think your LinkedIn profile had the beard.
He
Yeah.
does not have the beard.
I dig it. I like this so
Oh,
much more.
we
I
try
feel
to
like
match
that's
our
a
guests
different
sometimes
face.
with what we wear, but I don't know if I could rock. I don't know if I could rock a beard if I could grow a beard that
No, no,
quick.
no. You are fine without the beard.
I actually was watching, what is it, Wonka last night with my daughter,
Yeah.
and one of the chocolates that they eat turns everyone into like hairy monsters. It was amazing. It was great.
I love that. Well, before you got on, Jay, I was telling Caroline a little bit about you and kind of like, what I know. And I mean, we talked a lot about how like really Fiserv is the reason why we can pay rent online and like really powers why we can pay people and split dinners and make it easy
Yeah.
on Zelle or. So I am so excited to learn more about you. We definitely have a question that we're going to ask you at random. But yeah, Caroline, before we kick off, any questions for Jay?
Well, Jay, first, nice to meet you. I'm Caroline. Glad to have you on here. Out of curiosity, what made you say yes to getting on to meet with us in this crazy thing that we're trying to do here?
Uh, Good question. I don't know. Looked interesting. After I viewed one, I was like, hang on for a second, what? So I watched one and that sounds interesting. I'm always up for a spontaneous question and answer.
Where are
But
you based out of?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta. Oh, what a great city. I'm from South Florida and I live in the Northeast now, but Atlanta has a soft spot. It's a
We've been
great city.
here for almost
Um,
9 years. We lived in Boston for 2 years. Hated Boston. Wasn't for us. My
Boston's
wife
rough.
went
You
to
got
undergrad
it's
in Boston. So my wife
yeah.
my wife was for both of the biggest storms ever in Boston. So 95, 96 when she was at Brandeis as an undergrad, and then again in 2014, 2015 when we moved there, or yeah, 14, 2015 we moved there, and we pretty much like this is not for us. So we moved down here. Had that's what I worked for, and then I lived in DC for 15, 16 years. Lived in Dallas for three
So
years,
very,
and
very
North Carolina.
different from, yeah, very different from Atlanta. I feel like you got a
Yeah,
little bit of a slower pace, but still the big city
yeah,
vibe.
it's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. And then we were just talking about AOL and Vistaprint. Those hit, I mean, soft spots. My first email was AOL, and I was telling Kelly, I can't tell you how many business cards I've printed on Vistaprint. I loved it. Those free, you could get like 50 free or whatnot back in the day. It's
I
amazing.
loved the company, loved everybody I worked with, hated Boston at that time. Now they're 100% work from home, which just it irks me so much because I
Yeah.
left because like you can't be a leader if you're here and not in Boston because all of our technology leadership's here, so we want everybody here. And then the bozos after COVID, they're like, yeah, we're selling all of our offices and we're converting one floor of one office into a community space where people will come back to have
Yeah.
meetings or whatever. But otherwise, everybody worked from home. It worked great. And like, oh.
Do you think they'll ever go back to work from office? I know there's a ton of companies kind of going
Yeah.
back and forth.
You know, knowing the CEO like I do, no, I don't think so. I had a whole conversation, man. I don't know if you guys have a question the bowl about RTO, but I can't go too off on it because we're so much get in the office here.
Yeah.
Um, no, Robert Keane, the CEO, he is an introvert big time, right? And so he thinks,
Hmm.
and I'm an introvert. I will come across extroverted. You guys will see me fully engaged with you guys. This is all fake. Like I fake it as best
Yeah.
as I can. I would much rather not talk to anybody or see anybody, be in my basement lab, just talking to people through emails and IMs. So like that's what I prefer. That
We'll
said,
text you later, Jay. We'll text you
you don't
later. Maybe.
move you don't move up in the realm ranks if you're doing that. And that's the problem. Like the vast majority of executives are extroverts by nature, right? And if you look at the companies that are kind of RTO versus non-RTO, if you look at their leadership, a lot of them aren't the people that were the sales teams or the other teams coming up. They were engineers. They were people
Mm,
who were really focused on like delivering a solution, not delivering necessarily a I'm all into market problems right now and kind of
Yeah.
yeah.
product marketing. So like the product marketing type slash sales slash whatever it took to kind of get them where they are, they're extroverted people and they think like that. They can't imagine anybody getting anything done sitting at home. Clearly
Mhm.
they're everybody just on their couch in their underwear playing video games.
Yeah.
um not so much. It's a topic that's come up the past couple days, but we were
Yeah.
Monday through Friday in the office. So
So I have thoughts on the extrovert introvert piece because I think I personally find a misconception. People think that I'm an extrovert, but I'm not in the sense that like I can go put on the thing and do the show, but like once I'm out and I've been around people for too long, I have to be alone. I
Need to
have to be
recharge.
in silence. I need to recharge in
Yeah.
silence.
And I think that's
Uh,
why we kind of started this like form of Humans of Tech because I was like, it's very like, low stakes. I would say like, we just pick a question at random. There's no prep, there's no edits. Like we just like we asked I would say like easier questions because they're just related to the human side. So it's like not a huge uplift from like a you need to be a thought leader because a lot of people in tech are like, well, I don't want to really be that like a thought leader yet or necessarily like, that. So it's interesting. But yeah, I think
My case. Should we?
we should pull the question.
You ready? Let's see what you're gonna get. I say this all the time. I always feel like the right question comes for the right person. We do have a follow-up question though for you that in case this doesn't come up, the women in tech stuff. Kelly, I want to
Yeah, the
ask that
women in
question.
tech. You want to know more about
All
that?
right, how do you bounce back from a tough day? What's your process to get back on track?
It's interesting. I think a tough day can be a lot of different things for a lot of different people. Sometimes a tough day is when you had a big outage or something and you spent the entire day. That was my yesterday. And that can be a tough day for a lot of people. And other people may look at that same situation as not a tough day. Like I went home last night, even though it was a long day and it was a lot of coordination of a lot of different technical teams trying to come up with a solution for what was going wrong. How do we overcome this? How do we make sure it never happens again? But I went home actually kind of revitalized. Like, so going home for me for that day was very different than I think some of the other people who were already like, maybe we should just, leave the call now and go get some sleep and come back. And you could tell like it had worn them down, right? And so I think everybody's gonna be a little different. And I think when you look at yourself and your personality, it can be kind of up to you to decide. But for me, let's look at a tough day for me. Tough day for me is a day where I'm having to interact with a lot of different people, not as problem solving, but as coordination or kind of the meeting heavy day or however you want to think about it. And those days for me are very draining. I'm an introverted person by nature. I may not seem like it, but I much prefer to be by myself behind a screen, typing emails and IMs messages to my organization and then kind of talking about what we need to get done than actually interacting. But that after that, I go home and it's kind of the opposite, where I was energized last night and wanted to play with all four kids and talk to my wife and everything else.
Poor
Those days,
kids.
I would rather just
Whoa.
go sit in my room. Yep. So that's, I guess it comes down to the person, but that's the big thing for me is you got to figure out what gives you energy, what takes away energy, and then go from there. And solving problems always gives me energy. I really love it.
I think the key thing you're saying there, more than the solution, is to figuring yourself out a little bit. I think we miss that piece, right? We kind of act on autopilot on a regular basis, and until you stop and try to understand, like, why do I do that? Why do I act this way? Why does that make me feel this way? Why does that make me react that way? You're never going to find the way to solve that problem.
I think what also stuck out too is like what's a bad day for you is may not be a bad day for someone else. And like figuring that out too is so powerful because I think oftentimes we think there's little fires everywhere to be put out. It's like, okay, which one's burning bright? And like sometimes that's you. Like you sometimes you're like, I need to prioritize my space because I need to go home and be I need to go to my son's soccer game or I need to go to something to be there for my family. And that matters most out of everything.
Something else. We've said a lot of eyes,
Yep.
but Jay, I'm assuming you manage a pretty big team and you're coordinating a bunch of folks. Do you ever take into consideration how other people manage those things and maybe what they might need, and how does that kind of influence the way you interact with other people?
Yeah, it most definitely does, right? And it's also it's back to kind of the same point of like everybody's a little different. Um, I I constantly state like do as I say, not as I do, right? Because to that point, what works for me and what is comfortable for me is not comfortable for them. And I want them to understand, like, I know that, right? I'm empathetic to other people. Like everybody approaches things differently. And so simple stuff like for me, like, Saturday mornings is a quiet time in our house. The kids are sleeping in, whatever else. And I do some emails, but it's got nothing to do with like I want to work all weekend. Like I do not. I like a couple hours or hour, 30 minutes, whatever on a Saturday morning is fine. At the bottom of those emails, I make sure it's clear as like do not reply until Monday. And a couple of my people, they do reply, but they're, they also like this is easier to fit in now than waiting until Monday. So I'll just fit it in now. But like I want to make sure like people hear that regularly from me. Same thing at all hands, same things at other interactions. I do skip levels with everybody new coming in. I make it really
Yeah.
clear to them. It's like there's my expectation is we deliver great results and and outcomes that are actually beneficial. And how we do that or where we do that or things like that are much less important to me. But I want to make sure the team understands it too, right? So they have to take the time to get their R&R in to be able to that relaxed recharge, to be able to come back and be fully refreshed and be able to deliver their best. So it's a lot of like preaching it multiple times over the, many years. I've been a leader since 2003. So, what is that? 22 years of saying the same things. Like, look, I'm not like you. You're not like me. We have
Yeah.
to figure out what works for each of us.
And it just sounds like you're so adaptable to like each person that you bring in. You're like your leadership, you lead with being adaptable to each team member. And I'm sure that just like opens up for such a good culture too within the team. And I love that.
Hope so.
Jay, before we turn off the recording, we
Yes.
were both curious about your involvement in women and IT groups. Can
Sure.
you tell us a little bit about that and kind of some of your perspectives?
Yeah. First off, white guy, gray in my beard, older white guy, middle-aged white guy, whatever you think. Like I am representative of so many people in technology, it's not even funny. I think the best ideas often come from the people who don't think the same way, right? And so when you hear that thing that you never thought of before, you hear that perspective against something that you're presenting, like, whoa, what did I think? Like, how did I even think that? Like, whoa, you're exactly right. I never would have thought it. So that diversity of thought is extremely important to me, right? And in the end, it's like, humans are humans, but what's going on? The women in tech thing, I am on the Atlanta, which is southeast region, I'll call it now because we've expanded a bit, the advisory council for women in tech. I took on the seat that my old boss here at Fiserv had, and he was on there. And when he was moving to Jacksonville, Florida, different job. So I had already learned about the organization. And the thing that struck me the most was they have a single mothers program. And this is a program where, women who have, divorce, death, whatever, they're raising the children by themselves. And that spoke a lot to me because that was my situation. When I was really young, 2.5 years old, half of my family died. We were all in a car accident. My father and two of my sisters died. My oldest sister was still there, but she was much older than me, about 15 years, 14 years, 15 years older than me. And so it was just me and my mom, right? And this was a lady, my mom, strongest woman I know in the world, but she had dropped out of high school when she was in 10th grade. So she did not have a diploma, did not have an education beyond 10th grade, but she was really smart, obviously. So she had to go back to get her GED because my dad owned his own company, had a lot of insurance benefits or anything else to kind of rely on. So she had to go get a job, right? So we had to live off Social Security. We were very poor. She had to make sure that I had an understanding of what's your passenger? What do you want to do? You can do it. You just have to put your mind to it. She enabled me to do all those things, and she was just an amazing, amazing lady that I wouldn't be who I am today without her, right? So they have a single mothers program. When I heard about that, I started contributing monetarily, but also I'm available as a mentor, advisor, whatever is needed. It really spoke to me. And then I started thinking about the diversity that I've always sought. And that really just struck home to me. So that's how I got involved. I'm very proud of being involved. I've been involved now as a board member for 3 years, I think. So 4 years. Yeah, 3 or 4 years. And it's a wonderful program. I do it beyond them too. There's other women in technology kind of programs that I support around the country, really, as much as I can. So my wife and I both are adamant, like we've got to get the diversity of thought. We got to see other than middle-aged white guys kind of running IT to really get the best out of it.
Thanks for sharing that story. We were obviously involved in women in tech orgs around, and one of the things we were talking about before you getting on here is specifically that, like, how do we create a space where men also feel comfortable to be part of that as well, so that it doesn't just become, because then you kind of create another form of groupthink, right? Where you just separate women and we're all just here in this little bubble versus creating a collaborative space. I love the single mother initiative. I haven't seen that. I'm a single mom, so it's nice to hear of things that are done for that kind of group as well. Jay, we're gonna
Yeah.
pause here. We're gonna turn off the recording here. Don't hop
Yeah.
off just yet.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I know we lied to you. We said one random question, but we were kind of
We kept
excited.
talking.
Went all over. Appreciate you sharing a little bit about your personal life, your leadership style, and I learned a little bit here today too. So
I learned so many nuggets of information. Thank you so much.
Thank you both.
thanks for hanging out with us on Humans of Tech.
Subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, or LinkedIn and join the conversation.
Oh, and don't forget, you can now shop our store. Check the link on the show notes.